All right.
All right. Good.
Well, Tevita, welcome to the Lone Star Labor Pod. It is an honor to have you, have a conversation with you, and hear what's going on. You are like in the very vortex of what's happening out there, and just really excited to hear what you're seeing, what you're doing, and thank you for joining. Thank you for your work. Number one, lifting up solidarity, which is at the core of our movement all across the country. But also thank you for joining us, and thank you for your work with the Texas AFL-CIO. So welcome.
No, thank you very much for the introduction, Rick. The honor is really mine. Thank you. I'm finally here.
Finally here. All right, Tevita. All right, here's the thing, Tevita. It's like people. I mean, you are like blowing up. You are. You're the mic guy at the Labor Notes Conference. You're like the modern day Mother Jones. Wherever there's a picket line or workers are striking or organizing, you're there. Like, how did this all start for you? I mean, for the one or two people who in this movement who don't know you, give us a little bit of a history of how Tevita got so engaged in the labor movement.
Well, yeah, thank you. It's just been really a story of just trying to get involved, and it all started just by being a part of my Central Labor Council. It just started from there, and I'm just a 7-year union member, so my actual first strike was as recent as 2019, when we were playing a supporting role at the Tarrant County Central Labor Council for the GM facility here in Arlington, Texas.
I remember that.
So that was my first real strike. We were involved. We were helping with the planning. We were engaged with the community. I was there from the moment the horn blew at the factory in Arlington to when the workers walked out, to eventually when the workers walked in. For 40 days of that strike, I was there for 36, exclusive of my anniversary and days I can get off. But I was there.
So Tevita, you don't even work there, and you work. I mean, where do you work? And so what was it that connected with you about getting so engaged in that?
Well, so I work for American Airlines. I'm a union member of the Transport Workers Union, Local 513.
Yeah,
and it really was what kept me going. Was I felt it was solidarity. I mean, it was just learning about the issues and learning about people's jobs and what they did for a living, and the critical roles they played to making a final product like a vehicle. And it was just that fascination in people's lives that kind of kept me levitating back to the picket line. And it was just it was amazing just to look up to people and be there when they kind of needed the support,
Okay, so Tevita, the power of each worker's story is really a motivating thing. But so let's say you were talking to 10-year-old Tevita and trying to explain what was going on. What would 10-year-old Tevita think about where current Tevita is? Is that a surprise to you? Did your life go in a direction that it's completely predictable, or did something happen that was really different? What would 10-year-old Tevita think of what's going on today?
I think if 10-year-old Tevita was here, he would think that my kids are freaking cool because they go picket lines too. So he would probably think that this is something that we did normally. That people just show up and support each other. No, but it wasn't anything planned at all. I was just a guy when I hired on. We had this big hiring boom at American Airlines. It was a merger, and of course, after a merger, there's going to be big plans by these companies. So I joined the workforce with American Airlines, and I was the guy that just kind of knew where things were, like the restroom or the closest concourse entrance or exit.
It's important information.
You're right. And my role just kind of, I guess, morphed into more than just a guy that knew how to get places in the
Right.
concourse.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's just been fun, so fun, and so
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah. So, but I think Tavita, like you talk like you've been, uh, 7 years a union member. Like that's like, and in union life, that's a short time. But I think that I think that what we're seeing is that so many workers are wanting to be part of something bigger. So many people are understanding um, that their power lies in standing with the worker next to them. That that's what's going to improve their lives. And I think that like your life, in a way, kind of captures that whole spirit of what of something that's much broader going on. And I wonder, like, when you go to all these picket lines all over the country, like, what does that feel like to you in terms of how you see other people connecting to the labor movement?
Well, the first thing I always feel I do feel a little anxiety because I'm going to this picket line. I'm going to meet these people for the first time, and I don't know what state of mind they're in. Are they in this like we're sticking together mode, or are they just ready to go back to work? So when I go in, I try to go in and be as open to the information they're giving me. A lot of times the picketers just come to me now, like they hear like
Right.
if I'm coming or something, they just
Yeah.
come up to me, and I usually I ask them not to I want the focus to be on the picket lines, and if I could just be there to just kind of amplify their voices. Of course, it's nice to have a vice president from the Texas AFL-CIO show up from Texas, and you're in
Absolutely.
Omaha, and it's not a Big 12 conference football
Yeah.
game, but back then, but it's just like people are just shocked and just they're so surprised and they're so happy just to see somebody that they think that just anybody cares, like somebody from out there in the void just coming hearing our struggle and our plight and they want to join in, and I
Yeah.
think it's just a fun way to do it. It's just
That's
show up and have
amazing.
fun.
Yeah, and you say like somebody from the Texas AFL-CIO coming, that's like, do you think that, I mean, do most folks know what the AFL-CIO even is when you show up? Or, I found that a lot of people don't even know that. And it's a really interesting thing when people start learning about the broader labor movement beyond their own particular union.
Yeah, it's yeah, you do have to do a little educating. So I do a little educating on the Texas AFL-CIO, what we do as an organization, how we support the union and the labor movement. And then I go in a little further. A lot of them don't know that my heritage. I'm Tongan American, and I use that opportunity to tell them that I'm part of a broader group of people, the Asian American Pacific Islander group, and
Right.
we have the the labor movement offers constituency groups for you to grow as a not only as a what you identify as, but also find work that we can engage with others and show a supporting role. And I
Yeah.
think just doing that and saying I say Texas and then AFL-CIO, they go, wow, the guy from Texas. I said, don't forget AFL-CIO too. It's two words.
There you go. Right here. There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
So,
So, go
speaking
ahead.
of the constituent, sorry guys, also apologies for my internet connection. I had to relocate inside, so we're making do with what we have. So, speaking of the constituency groups, you have a leadership role in APALA, don't you? Do you want to talk about like what that has been like for you and what being a part of that constituency group has shown you, or what you've learned from that experience?
Yeah, so it's been very recent that I just got elected to the National Executive Board of the Apollo National. But I've only been a member for Apollo since 2019. And what people don't know is, so I was introduced at the Texas AFL-CIO Constitutional Conference. I think it was 2019. Yes, or 2019. Anyways, it was Montserrat Garibay that pulled me aside one day, and she was like, "Hey, I want you to get involved in this organization called APALA. And I said, Paula? And she said, yeah. She explained to me the whole spiel and everything. And I said, yeah, sure. And so I went to the first meeting of the AAPI caucus at the convention. And that's where I met a gentleman by the name of Shui Ong. And Shui Ong, he's a seafarer by trade, and he is probably the most quiet, but he holds himself with such dignity as a worker.
That is a powerful dude. Yes, sir.
And I felt I wanted to be like him. I'm like, wow, this guy, I mean, he doesn't exactly look like me because he's probably a little taller than me. But
wow.
he just kind of reminded me of people in my community. You know, they were quiet workers who just got the job done. And but he didn't do it quiet at all. He did it in a real way, a real big way.
Yeah. No, that's many of us have had the experience of Montserrat taking us and telling us we need to get involved in something. So I can definitely relate to that. And Shui is a hero of all of us. He's also on the board of the Texas AFL-CIO, and his story and his leadership in his union is an amazing inspiration to all of us too. I totally relate to that. And then the other constituency group that you're real involved in is the YAL conference, or the YAL, which is the best acronym in the labor movement, obviously, the Young Active Labor Leaders. And there's some pretty exciting things coming up with that. So tell us about y'all, Tevita, and what you do with that.
Yeah, so I'm a proud dues-paying YAL member, Young Active Labor Leader. I'm part of the North Texas chapter, and we have a lot of great former Ruth Ellinger Labor Leader School attendees or alumni who are not only a part of y'all, but we're the ones that kind of help keep organizing y'all and getting people involved, especially people in our places of work who are, you know, similar in our age or haven't really found their home yet in the movement, if you will. But it's just been, y'all has played a real significant role in my maturation in the movement. You know, that, you know, a lot of times people like myself and others who are, you know, that just got into the movement, we have to learn this thing like lightning quick. And thanks to y'all, they collect all the resources I need so I can look over it. And, you know, they're people are very helpful. Angie DeFilippo, she's a co-chair. She's amazing. I mean, she's not only my friend and the co-chair of y'all, but she is somebody that I can rely on to get me information that I need. And you know, y'all really plays a significant role in my travels. I try to wear my y'all drip everywhere I go, and that's where I get people go, wow, y'all, what's that? I said, funny you should ask, Young Active Labor Leaders. Then I give them the whole spiel, and by the time I'm done, hopefully I get at least a dues-paying member. But
well, I'm really excited about the convention because the y'all convention, because I remember the first one, and it was like no other labor convention I'd ever been to in Texas, and that's because it's completely planned and put together by young workers. I remember I tried to get involved in the first planning one, and the y'all folks said, well, they were really happy to have the support of the Texas AFL-CIO, but what they really didn't need was a bunch of old folks telling them what they needed to learn about at their conference. So they politely invited me to leave, and they just put the shit on. So what's going to happen this time? What's happening at this conference?
Well, you know, so I'm kind of thinking this is going to be Labor Notes 2.0. Like you said it, this is a bunch of young people, a lot. Well, I mean, there's going to be people of all ages, but the target audience is young, active labor unionists. And, you know, so Labor Notes is another conference that has, you know, a bunch of organizers like myself and young folks, majority, who go and just kind of hash out all the issues going on in the labor movement and really have hard conversations about the state of the movement and what we have to do as young people to get involved. So I'm hoping, and I know the y'all summit if it's anything like I saw at Labor Notes, it's gonna be fire, fire, fire for us in as y'all members and anybody who's attendee. I know I heard through the grapevine that my brother Chris Smalls is going to be there from the Amazon Labor Union, but I saw a flyer. I'm not sure. I got to see him in the flesh. So if I see Chris and Rick in Texas, then I'm in the right place.
There you go. All right. Well, I'm going to ask you about that. Tevita, let me ask you this question. I'm really curious about what you think about this. And this is kind of this may be a harder question, but I really want to have a really honest conversation about it because it's something I'm really interested in. And that is, back to back, you were at the AFL-CIO convention in Philadelphia, and you were at the Labor Notes convention in Chicago. And also you are everywhere on picket lines and stirring up trouble and supporting workers everywhere. But you're also on the board of the AFL-CIO in Texas, and you're also on the board of the Tarrant County CLC, I think, if I'm not wrong about that. So this whole question of how the labor movement connects to the broader institutions of the AFL-CIO, and I think you said something like the difference in the conventions and where you felt at home and where you didn't feel at home. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the relationship of the movement to the institutions of the labor movement and what that feels like to you at this moment?
So at this very moment, I think the broader movement is going through a growing pain, and I think they're looking for an identity. But as a young worker who's seeing it from the ground level, these kids are not waiting on an institution, on a union to come in and help them organize their workers. Like, they're using each other's stories, like their medical debt stories, their school debt stories, and they're finding a way around organizing around those issues. And it's nice to have the support of an institution like the AFL-CIO to come in, but a lot of times organizers or people who in those workplaces, when organizers come in, it becomes more about the staff that are running the organizing committees and less about the organizing committees themselves. And I think to really capture a moment, you have to be receptive to the ideas that are old but new again. And these kids are learning it on their own, just like I have to. But we are not in a position to wait for somebody to say when we're ready, because things around us are crumbling. Our federal government, our work lives, our home lives. It's. I just wish that there was a better way that we can find ways to get involved if I was the institution.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you that. What do you think like, for example, what does the Texas AFL-CIO need to do to meet this moment of organizing, to support the organizing that's going on, like you say, organically in workplaces across the state and across the country?
From what I've been doing and what I'm seeing and hearing is a lot of these newer organizations, they don't have any direction. They just want somebody to be there, just a supporting role. And I know it's easy to say that, like, yeah, okay, yeah, we can show up. But I'm talking about the showing up when they really need us, like when there's only 2 people signed up for their volunteer drives, because the rest of the workers are actually working. They don't really have the infrastructure. So support monetarily. I get it. It's hard living in this rough period in America, but supporting them and giving them some kind of small donation that helps. Even something as simple as wearing their union gear and putting it out there, like, that's showing them that not only do you think that their gear is cool, but that you're willing to put yourself out there to be not a face, but be a supporter. And I try to make sure that I stay connected with those workers in that way that, hey, look, like I don't work with you, I don't pay dues to your union or your organization, but I'm fully invested in this movement, and we all need to find that level of investment, and I know it's going to be take a lot. And Rick, how much this movement and how much this work really takes a lot of your free time. And I'm not asking anybody to work miracles, but actually showing up to their meetings, whether it's Zoom call or whatever, and just being a part of it, gathering information. And then if they ask for an opinion, I'll give them an opinion, but just let the workers run things, and that's just what it's no different from what I learned in Tarrant County CLC. Where do I need to be? What can I do? And how can I help?
That's pretty much, that sums it up pretty good to me. Where do I need to be and what do I need to do? Because Madison, that's what we try and do at the Texas AFL-CIO. Really is to solidarity takes so many different forms,
right?
And just to really weave our movement together. And I'm so energized by, like you talk about it, Tevita, with the workers just like not waiting for somebody to come around and tell them that they need, but yet and still there's still that expertise and that broader movement that can really add to what they're doing. So it's trying to figure out the connection between these two kind of things that is the real challenge right now, because we have to do something to meet this moment. People want to be union. It's not just because of the drip. I mean, maybe that's part of it, but it's.
After the Texas AFL-CIO web store comes out, like it's hard to say.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Coming soon, you guys. But
coming soon.
Oh, exactly. Wait.
So yes, so we'll get on that. But Tevita, I know you are very generous with your time, and we don't want to take too much of it, but we are really honored that you would join us. We're inspired by your work. We're gratified by your friendship and your example, and just love you, brother, and keep in touch and let us know how we can work together.
I do have one more question before Tevita.
We have one more question.
I apologize, guys. My internet was so rough in the first part of this. So I just, I'm the digital person for the Texas AFL-CIO, and Tevita and I get to work together actually quite a bit, collaborating on different projects. And Tevita is always sending me stuff that, he thinks that I should look out for. And I think that that's really helpful for me. And, you're talking about like people, young people coming up in the labor movement, not waiting for anybody. And I think that part of that is that technology has been somewhat of a really good equalizer in making it so that you don't have to wait for a microphone. You can have your own platform. And you have been very vocal on social media and creating a community of solidarity. And what has that brought to your understanding of the labor movement? And especially like this moment now, like has that helped you to feel more connected to people around you?
Yeah, so social media has been, so the connection, you're right, Madison, the connection with people who I didn't realize existed outside of my friends here in Texas, like just to finally meet people, you see them, and social media, we're all saying the same things, but it's not until we actually see each other in the flesh and we're like, oh my gosh, that's you. We're here. This is our moment. We're going to build power together, whether it's at a corner, at a picket line for Starbucks workers, or at a convention, or outside at a convenience store. Anytime I run into somebody who I follow or they follow me, and we kind of have that bro or sis hug moment where, oh my gosh, we finally meet each other. Social media has given me a platform to really say what the youth of the movement are saying. A lot of times they don't have that platform, and I get the opportunity to do it, and there good comes with it as well as bad. Like I've felt the heat, but I welcome it because I know that this is what the workers want me to say. This is how we feel.
Yeah.
And if I'm just telling you what the feeling is, and what the workers are asking for, I mean, that's all I can do. But like on another note, Madison, working with the Texas AFL-CIO has been something that I've done since I got involved. But like I have a real big thing for the digital aspect of it. So I'm so excited to continue my work with you and take over some picket lines sometime, or somewhere around the road. Maybe maybe we might do something for y'all. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
But
no, Tevita, I'm so grateful for you participating on the podcast, and also just like you make my job so much easier and more interesting because you're always doing so many things that are important for us to be sharing about on our social media and in other areas of our digital presence. And so, thank you again for being here and for being you and so vocal about solidarity online and walking the walk in real life too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I want to mention one thing, and this is something that I will never forget in Philadelphia at the AFL-CIO convention. And it was, day one, it wasn't planned for me to go up to the mic, but I did because I felt like I needed to be there and say my piece after Cooper Caraway, he's from here, from Texas, had got up and he had said his piece and I was not ready for it, but I had to support him. Like I had to stick my neck out for him because I believed in the message. But, after all that went on and, I kind of felt like the mood was kind of changed for me. Rick just put his arm around me and just gave me this big hug and he smiled and I said, well, hold on to that little piece of Texas because so thanks, Rick, for giving me that hug because I needed it. And then seeing you at the steps at the AFSCME rally, I needed a piece of Texas, and just seeing you there, and I was just like, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna get through this. So thank
awesome,
you, Rick.
They're here anytime you need it, brother. Love it. That's awesome. Really appreciate it. That was a big moment, and stepping up to that mic is a very scary thing to do, regardless of whether you're saying something. But when you were speaking your truth, and regardless of whether people agree with you or not, I'm like that's Tevita, and that's what makes it great. So really appreciate your courage, brother, and your solidarity, and let's keep building together.
Oh yeah, I won't, Rick, until you tell me to stop. We're gonna keep building this. We're gonna keep building.
I don't even think that there's even any hope that, regardless of what I said, you would stop.
Well, I think Madison already whited out the stop button in the Texas AFL-CIO. You wouldn't even find it if you were looking for it.
That's it. All right, brother. Y'all have a good day. Madison,
I appreciate it
for popping in. All right.
Thank you, Madison. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Y'all take care.
All right. See ya.
Bye.